Hey everyone, welcome back to Little Boy Customs. Today we're going to be welding the cab onto the floorboard of the Grand Marquis. Okay, so you can see that I've taken the front end back off of the front of the truck. The cab was never mounted, and so I'm going to work on mounting the cab by welding it into the firewall and the floorboard of the Grand Marquis that I'm using. So that's what we're going to work on today. While you've been gone, or while I've been gone, actually, first of all, I want to apologize. I haven't been posting as much as I wanted to through all this craziness that the world's going through right now. I am still going to work every day at the day job. So it is, it is what it is. This project's not going to pick up speed because I'm not getting to stay at home and being quarantined or whatever. So the one thing that I have done since last time that I filmed was I cleaned up the inner fender well on the truck and got it painted. I got the other side cleaned up as well, but I have not got it painted yet. So I'll probably paint that sometime today, seeing how today's first clear weather day that we've had, and shoot some paint on it. But let's get to what we're at hand at today. All right, guys. So we're going to start on the passenger side of this cab, and we're going to work on filling in this gap right here that runs along the door panel. And then after we make some patch panels for that and weld it in, then we'll start working on going up this door rail, and then also on the outside around the firewall as well. Alright guys, so the easiest way that I've found to make patch panels is typically to use cardboard, use a Sharpie, and you trace out the design that you need, and then you take it over to metal and cut it, and it usually fits fairly well. Unfortunately, I don't have any cardboard because while I was at work I forgot to pick some up, which is not a big deal, especially with everything going on. So I also have a CNC machine shop that I run part-time, not part of my day job. It is actually what started Little Boy Customs. But in that, I get scrap pieces of birch plywood. That scrap pieces of birch plywood I usually hang on to, and then I use that to run my programs for my laser machine and that kind of stuff. But today I'm going to use those scrap pieces and make those patch panels. So let's get started. Alright guys, so what I've done is I measured from the tail end of the cab right back there where I'm wanting to close off the patch panel all the way down to right here. This is where it starts going up at. I know it's kind of jagged looking right there and messed up. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle. You can see it better there. So I measured all the way to right there. And then I cut me a piece of birch plywood, and now I am going to fit that in there. And using my trusty Sharpie, go underneath, and I will mark a line along the edge of the floorboard, and then that will give me a template for cutting out the metal. Alright guys, so after I marked my line underneath it on the back side, that line right there is the line I marked. As you can see, it is not extremely straight because I didn't cut the car real straight. Anyway, so I took the furthest point that came away from this side. That way I knew I'd cover up this little area right here where it bows in too far. And drew a straight line on the outside of that. And then cut it off with the table saw. Then back over here, fit it in. And that's what my piece of plate will look like once I cut it out. Now for this part right here, we're going to make another plate that goes from here down to here. And we will use the exact same technique. Just grab a piece of birch plywood and do a little tracing, and we'll get it cut out. And then we'll take both these templates over to a piece of metal and transfer the template onto the metal. All right, guys. So what I have here is 16 gauge, big old flat sheet 4x8, 16 gauge metal. Right there is my template that I made off the truck, and pretty much lay it down where you want it on your metal, and then just trace it out. And if you've watched the videos long enough, you know that yes, this is a CNC plasma machine, but most of y'all don't have one of those, and so I'm trying to build this truck the same way y'all would be building it. So I am going to freehand cut that stencil out. Alright, as you can see, this is piece right here. Didn't cut so great over here on this end. Not as steady hand as I'd like to be, but a little practice and this will get better. Definitely always put your original piece on here. See how well it came out. It's flush on both sides. So that side's really good. This side here is, as you can see, a little bit off up here and a little bit off down here. But when we weld it in, it should be alright. Alright guys, so this is definitely not welded in. It's almost a two-person job unless you can just really have enough patience to hold everything in place. I tried to use clamps. That didn't work for me. There's nothing to really clamp onto in this area. So this piece is tacked in. It's not perfect, but this is pretty much what it will look like. And then I'll still have to do a lot of welding and pull this piece of the metal down here. This is at the bottom side of it. Need to pull this piece of metal. I'll weld this in up here at the top first, weld this in also, and then I will use probably a 2x4 because this is a pocket underneath the truck at that location. And use a 2x4 to push this part of the metal out to close that seam up right there, and then weld the bottom half of it in. So that's where we're at. And in case anybody was wondering about Thomas, he's still being a shop cat doing his thing. Alright guys, so after welding, you know what they say, grind work make what a welder ain't. I am not the best welder in the world. I never will admit to be that. And this truck body and this 16 gauge gets extremely hot, so you have to move around quite a bit in order to weld all this in before the heat starts expanding the metal and making it pop and that kind of stuff. So this is what it looks like. Looking down from the top, it is completely welded in. And this will be looking from the side. I need to clean all this up still, and I need to clean that weld up down there at the bottom. But that's what we got. Alright guys, that's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Last question. I'm going to paint the inside of this cab. I've done a test color right over there. It's called Sea Blue, made by Rust-Oleum. Tell me what you think about that color. The inside of the car is going to have gray leather seats and gray carpet. So let me know what you think about that. Anyway, appreciate you watching. Hope everybody stays safe out there, and take care of yourself.